Hi everyone, time to fuel your brains. Hope you all are studying well. In this video, I'll explain what is tight coupling, what is loose coupling, what do you mean by dependent object, how do you perform dependency injection, and why these concepts are useful in understanding Spring framework. And as usual, I'll first explain theoretically and then we will understand the concepts practically along with the detailed flow of control and memory diagram. This video is not based on Spring framework. When I was upgrading on Spring, there were many students in the classroom whose understanding of core Java concepts was not clear. As a result, they struggled to understand the Spring framework and the trainer had to repeatedly explain the basic concepts of core Java. Consequently, the session became significantly lengthy for me and many others. Therefore, if you are starting with Spring, ensure that you are well versed in all the concepts that I am going to explain in this video. Let's begin. Have a look on the definition. Coupling refers to the degree of dependency between components or modules within a system. That means how much the components or modules, for example, how much two classes are dependent upon each other decides how loosely or tightly coupled they are. So let's take a precise real-life example. Suppose there is a traveler who wants to travel by driving his own vehicle. Traveler has to select a vehicle for him. Now this traveler decides that he wants to travel by a car. How do we implement the real-life scenario in object-oriented programming? In object-oriented programming, we create a class named traveler and we create a method named select vehicle. The traveler decides to travel by a car. So we will be creating a class named car. Let's write the code for this. Create a simple Java project. Let's name it loose coupling demo. Create a class named traveler. Let's define a method select vehicle. Let us create one more class car. And let's define a method start. Now, this is a basic core Java question. How do we call a method? Suppose if I want to call the method start belonging to the class car inside the class traveler, what do I do? To call a method from a particular class, we need to create an object of that class. So if I want to call the method from class car, first I need to create an object of car and then I will call the start method on car object. So let's create object of class car. And on this car object, I will give a call to start method. If you guys don't know how the memory allocation happens and how the flow of execution goes, please go to the playlist Object Oriented Programming and watch from the beginning on this channel. In every video, I have explained every concept with diagrams and flow of control. I'll be explaining in this video as well. Now that we have written code for class traveler and class car, we have created an object of car inside class traveler. We have achieved composition. We cannot call the method of class car without car object. What is the degree of dependency between class traveler and class car? What will happen if the class car is deleted or shifted to some other location? If the class is not present, the class traveler will throw an error. So can we say that the degree of dependency is high because we have created object of car inside class traveler? This car object has created a dependency. Now let's consider one more scenario. The traveler has changed his mind and now instead of car, they want to use a bike. So let's create a class bike and define the start method inside class bike. The SOP will print bike started. Now to call a method from class bike, we have to make changes to the traveler class. We need to remove this car object and create a bike object which will give a call to start method from bike class. So the code will look like this. And here instead of car object, we will use bike object. Sorry for my handwriting. So to keep making changes to the class as per the requirement is not a good programming practice. Tomorrow the traveler might want to use a helicopter or something else. So this entire scenario, objects such as car, bike, helicopter are creating dependency. When we create object of a class in other class, it creates tight coupling. Or when one class is dependent on other class for anything, it's called as tight coupling. What is tight coupling? Tight coupling occurs when components, in our case the classes traveler and car or bike or helicopter, are highly dependent on each other. Changes in one component often require corresponding changes in other components, leading to a system that is more rigid and harder to maintain. That's why tight coupling is considered as a bad programming practice unless it is necessary. So what is the solution? I don't want to create any object inside the traveler class, or I don't want to mention any class name because that creates dependency. But I want to give a call to the method of car, bike or any vehicle the traveler selects. How do I do that? How do I call a method without creating an object of that class? How do I get rid of tight coupling? The solution is implementing simple polymorphism and inheritance used in core Java. We can create an interface named vehicle, and the vehicle classes car, bike, helicopter or any other vehicle can implement interface vehicle, using which we can perform runtime polymorphism. So let's write the code for vehicle interface. So let's create an interface named vehicle. And let us define an abstract method start in vehicle interface. And now all the vehicle classes will implement vehicle interface. Car implements vehicle. And the abstract method start in the vehicle interface is implemented by the child class car. Suppose there is one more class bike. Bike will implement vehicle. So as soon as you implement an interface, the abstract method inside the interface has to be implemented by the child class. So here we are getting an error. The type bike must implement the inherited abstract method start. Interfaces methods are public. So now any number of vehicle classes implements vehicle interface, and all the classes will have to write the code for this abstract method start. If your concept of interface is not clear, please watch the video on the topic interface on this channel. I have explained in detail. And the class car and bike implements vehicle interface. The abstract method from vehicle interface is implemented in these classes car and bike. Now in the traveler class, instead of creating car object or bike object, we will create reference of interface vehicle. How do we create a reference? Vehicle and the reference name vehicle, semicolon. So there are multiple ways to create an object. One is you simply create child class object, child C equal to new child. In our example, it will be car, reference name car equal to new car, parenthesis semicolon. Or you may also create parent P equal to new child. In our case, it will be vehicle, reference name vehicle equal to new car or new bike. So in runtime polymorphism, where an overridden method is invoked, we can create object like this. Reference variable belongs to parent class or parent interface, and object belongs to the child class. So here we are implementing runtime polymorphism. The method start is inherited from the vehicle interface, or the method start from the bike class is inherited from the vehicle interface. We are creating reference variable of type parent interface, that is vehicle, and we will assign child class object. If the concepts of objects, references, major pillars of object-oriented programming are not clear, please watch the playlist Object-Oriented Programming on this YouTube channel. So vehicle is created. You need an object to call the method from the class. How to assign object to this interface reference vehicle? If you don't assign object to the reference variable and simply use the reference variable to call a method, for example, if I am saying vehicle.start, but we have not assigned object to the reference variable vehicle. So if you don't assign object to the reference variable and simply use the reference variable to call a method, you get null pointer exception. So you need to assign object to this reference variable vehicle. How do we do this? How do we assign object to the reference variable vehicle without creating object inside the traveler class? So there are multiple ways. One way I will show is we create a setter method. You can write a setter method manually or tell your IDE to do so. You can just right click on this reference variable, go to source, generate getters and setters. Presently we need only setter. So untick get vehicle. We are creating set vehicle, generate. So make the interface type private. You might be remembering encapsulation. So you can see the signature of the method. The name of the method is set vehicle and it is accepting an object of type vehicle. That means you can assign any object of type vehicle. It might be car, it might be bike, it might be helicopter, or any class that implements vehicle interface. You can pass any vehicle type object to this method. And then we are assigning this local object to the instance variable vehicle, which we have declared over here. So if this keyword is not clear, you will not understand this part of the code. Please watch my video on this keyword. I'll be explaining the flow of control and memory allocation further in this video for this entire code I'm writing now. Stay till the end. Now we have done writing code for traveler class. We are not creating any object inside traveler class. We have just declared the reference variable of interface vehicle and we have created the setter method, set vehicle. And using the object which will be assigned to this vehicle interface, we will call start method. Let us now write a class that executes a main method. Let us say the class name is journey. Include a main method. So we need to create a traveler object because the traveler wants to start its journey, and suppose the traveler decides to travel by car, it needs a car object. So I will quickly write the code and explain. So the first thing we have done is we created an object of type traveler because we want to call methods from traveler class. The second thing we have done is inject a car object to the traveler class because inside the traveler class, if you see, we haven't created any object. Vehicle reference has no object assigned, and our intention is to not create object inside the traveler class to remove the dependencies. That's why we are injecting the object from outside. So how do we inject the car object to the traveler class? We invoke the set vehicle method. If you see the signature of the set vehicle method, it is accepting object of type vehicle, which can be any object, car, bike, helicopter, etc. Object of any class that implements vehicle interface. So here, can we pass car object to set vehicle method? Yes, we can. And now the traveler class is got the object using which it can call the start method from the class car. The object we are passing will be assigned to this local variable vehicle, and then it is assigned to the instance variable vehicle. Save all the classes. Now the third thing we do is invoke select vehicle method from the traveler class on the traveler object. So from here the control will go to the traveler class select vehicle method, and this gives a call to start method from car, because we are passing car object in the set vehicle method. Or suppose the traveler decides it wants to travel by a bike and not by car. No changes needed to be done inside the traveler class. Just pass the bike object from here. Instead of car, you can pass the bike object and it will work fine. So now I'll explain the line by line execution of this entire program. But before that, let's try to understand the very important concept. So the object which we are injecting to the traveler class is called as dependent object. Because if we create this object inside the traveler class, it creates dependency. If you are injecting bike object, bike is a dependent object. Wherever the object is going to be used, that class is called as target class. So in this scenario, traveler is a target class where we are injecting the dependent object. The process of providing a dependent object to the target class is called as dependency injection. So we are providing the dependent object to the traveler class through setVehicle method. We are actually injecting an object to the setter method. This object is used through the concept of setter method, hence it is called as setter injection. So in our example, we are using setter injection. Now if we look at the code of traveler class, are we creating any object inside traveler class? For example, car, bike or helicopter or any vehicle inside the traveler class? No. Is there any dependency between traveler, car or bike? These classes don't know anything about each other. And hence, this entire scenario is called as loose coupling. What is loose coupling? Loose coupling refers to a design where components, in our case traveler, car, bike classes, are relatively independent of each other. They interact through well-defined interfaces, in our case vehicle interface or contracts, and each component is unaware of the internal workings of others. So if you see the code, these classes traveler, car, bike are independent of each other and they are unaware of the internal workings of each other, and this is called as loose coupling. So what do you mean by the word contract in the definition? Contract can be considered as an abstract class. You declare an abstract method in your class, or it can be considered as an interface. You create an abstract method in interface and force the child class to implement the abstract method. So there becomes a contract between the child and the abstract class or interface that it is mandatory for the child class to implement the abstract method declared inside the interface or abstract class. For more details on abstract class, watch my video on the topic abstract class and abstract methods. And this is how we implemented loose coupling and decoupled the dependencies. So did I achieve my goal of not creating any object inside traveler class and still calling the start method? Yes, I did it using the concept of loose coupling. Now let us see the line by line execution, how the flow of control goes and how the memory is allocated in this entire program. So the execution starts from main method. The first line executed is we are creating object of type traveler, traveler t equal to new traveler. What happens when you create an object? JVM does lot of things, but few important things to understand. The flow of control R, object is created inside the memory. So this reference variable t is created on the stack and the new object is created on the heap memory area. And when the object is created, all the instance variables of the class are allocated memory inside the object. You can see traveler has only one instance variable, that is vehicle. We have yet not assigned any object to it. So presently inside the memory, it's null. It's not pointing to any object. So this is how you can imagine the memory part. Now when the object is created, it gives a call to the constructor. So from here, a call to the constructor is given. Here we haven't written a constructor, that's why compiler will include default constructor and that default constructor will be executed and the control comes back. The next line is a method call t.setVehicle. We are calling setVehicle on object t and passing car object to setVehicle method. So when we pass an object to the method, what exactly happens? JVM internally passes address of an object to the method. See, as a programmer, you need not worry about what's happening internally or what's happening inside the memory. JVM takes care of everything. But as a learner or as a student, if you understand how things work, this will help you in coding exams or Oracle certification Java exams, interview questions to predict the correct output. So you should have some idea about this. Now how this might look inside the memory. As soon as a method call happens, we are passing car object. So the car object is created inside the heap memory. So here inside the heap memory, the car object is created. Now you can see the code of car object. There are no instance variables we have declared inside the car object. Hence, no memory for instance variable is allocated, but just the object is created inside the memory. Now the flow of control will go to the method definition. We are invoking setVehicle method. So the flow of control will go to the setVehicle method over here. So the address of the car object is sent to this reference variable local to the method setVehicle, and inside the stack memory area, memory is reserved for the local variable of setVehicle method. So the reference variable vehicle, which is local to the setVehicle method, is allocated memory here, and the address of the object which we are passing from the method call is stored in here, and the vehicle reference starts pointing to the object on the heap. So this way you can visualize the memory diagram. Now the next line is this dot vehicle equal to vehicle. So the vehicle to the right hand side is this local variable vehicle, and the vehicle to the left hand side is the instance variable vehicle. And now the object which is assigned to the local variable vehicle, we are assigning the same object to the instance variable vehicle. So when we say this dot vehicle equal to vehicle, the car object which is passed through the set vehicle method will be assigned to the instance variable vehicle, and the instance variable vehicle will start pointing to the car object. So internally the address of the object is assigned, and the instance variable vehicle will start pointing to the car object which is passed through the method. Now this code will look like vehicle equal to new car. So finally we have injected an object. Now once the execution of this method is over, this line is executed and the execution is over, memory from the stack is released for the method and the control goes back. But you can see the reference variable vehicle still has its object. It is still pointing towards the car object. So now when we give a call to select vehicle method on object T over here, flow of control will go to select vehicle method. From here the flow of control will go to select vehicle method. Here it gives a call to start method of car class on car object. So the code inside the method is vehicle.start. What is vehicle? It is the car object. So on this car object we are calling the start method of class car, and from here the flow of control will go to the definition of start method in car object belonging to class car, and the output car started is printed. The memory is released from the stack and the program ends. In this entire scenario, we are nowhere creating objects inside traveler, car or bike. We achieved loose coupling. Now the question, why Spring Framework? Spring Framework will make our work easy. In the class journey, where we are writing main method, we need to inject an object to the traveler class. Here we are creating objects manually. It might be bike object, it might be car object. We are writing code for creation of object. If you are using Spring Framework, you just have to tell Spring that car or bike is my dependent object, traveler is my target class. Just create the object and inject it to the traveler class through setter injection, and Spring does everything you command. So loose coupling is a very simple and powerful concept. It was naturally used by the earlier programmers who coded in object-oriented programming, and they used to hard code everything in their programs. Nowadays there are frameworks who does the job for you, and presently the most popular framework is Spring Framework. Spring applies loose coupling and many other powerful concepts of object-oriented programming and core Java. Understanding Spring Framework is easy if you have strong hold on core Java. When you are beginning to learn Spring Framework, if you already have understanding of these concepts, dependent object, target class, loose coupling, etc., it will become easy to understand. So my suggestion is, before you start learning Spring, brush up your core topics. This is Meera. Please share my YouTube channel link with computer science and IT students. Your single share can help someone build a strong foundation in programming and also motivate me to upload more videos. Do like and subscribe. It really feels great when someone subscribes. God bless. Thank you. Well, go to my YouTube channel. Click on the playlist. You will see 2 playlists over here. I'll be adding more. If you want to start from the beginning, click on free Java course. View full playlist and start watching in a sequence. So from basics to object-oriented programming, I have covered the important topics in this playlist. Thank you for your lovely comments on my channel. Do like, share, subscribe. Thank you.